Hey, what's up everybody? Jumpin here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another Platinum gameplay. This is going to be one that I'm sure a lot of you guys wanted to see. This is going to be the Geth Piranha build of mine. The best build ever on Platinum. This is not a speed run. This is nothing special. This is just a random Platinum gameplay that me and a couple friends got. And I decided to show it to you mainly because it's on the map Giant. I've been trying to show you most of all the maps in the game for Platinum and different ways you can run around. That's very important to me, is to showcase ways you can run around these maps and not camp, because from what I've seen, most videos contain a lot of different camping strategies for these maps. The most noticeable one for this one is to stay up in this little area where I am now. This whole little house or building, you want to call it, I guess. Very effective, honestly, for just camping with demolishers. But who wants to camp when you can run around and have a lot of fun with it? Now, the main thing about this map, I do have to be honest for, is that it is big. It is a somewhat large map, but it's not like the biggest map in the game. But there is that does pose one problem, and you have to constantly keep it. You got to constantly think about this. Is the enemies, like boss level enemies, especially the primes. And if you start against Geth, because like I said, if you start against Geth, it's the easiest way to go. If you start against Geth, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of Geth primes, and Geth primes can snipe the shit out of you on this map. They really can. So you gotta be careful about that. And right here we're gonna fight a couple primes. But the real secret to this map is to try to not stay in the open as much as you can. Like, we're going to be playing with the Krogan Vanguard, very important role player, like I've said in multiple videos, just to be a tank and to eat a lot of damage for you and your team. And his job is going to be, of course, to charge the middle and fight all the enemies smack dead in the middle, where the rest of your squad should actually stay behind, like, the outskirts of the map, or stay behind walls and just cover and try to move around like that. That's the best way to deal with everything on this map. Like I said before, one of the best things to ever do for Platinum is to follow the dinosaur. Very important strategy. And if you're going to play as a build like this, because this build, as you can see, is extremely effective for Platinum. It's the best offense in the game. There's no question about that. The Geth Piranha build is literally the best offense you can get out of anything. So the best way to really play with this is to just stay in that mentality. You will be the ultimate slayer on your team. But you have to also keep in the mindset that everyone's going to have their roles and everyone's going to play. So today I'm going to be playing with my friend Vinny, and you've seen him before in a couple videos. Really cool dude. And also a dude you have not seen before, but is also a really awesome dude, is Lone Crusader. Lone Crusader is going to be playing as the Paladin. And once again, that's another very important role player. I think I might come out with a video about that, although I already kind of have one. Although it's not one of the Platinum role players, and this is also not a Platinum role player gameplay. This is just a gameplay. But like I said, the Paladin is very important, mainly because he can debuff. Now right here I'm going to die. I'm going to accidentally instantly get myself up. I was trying to op pack there. It happens to everybody pretty much sometimes. And yeah, I'm just very surrounded. This is what you don't want. You do not want this right here. You want to be able to stay on the outskirts, but not to be just surrounded. The Krogan's job is to be surrounded, not you. You're too weak. Well, everyone but the Krogan is way too flimsy for that. But anyway, like I said, so Lone Crusader is going to be playing as the Paladin, and he's actually extremely good with the Paladin, so that's very nice. That is a class that I do recommend highly that you try to get good with, because that can really help your team out. Just being good with the snap freeze and with the cryo shield and energy drain, it's amazing. Now right here we're gonna get an upload. Oh no, this map is notorious for having really bad uploads. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust out my rocket and take all these enemies out right here. The reason why I did that is that it's a billion times easier to deal with the enemies on the outside than them on the inside. So if you ever get this upload on Platinum or even Gold, I do recommend maybe taking that rocket, just so that you can just stay like from this position, stay in the upload for the most part, and continuously take out the enemies. Now right here, Ascidian, who's our tank, he's our Krogan Vanguard, he's going to do something that I've talked about before, which is very important. He's going to not really be in the upload that much, and occasionally I'm going to jump out the upload just to help him out and like do some extreme damage to the enemies and such. But that's pretty much the idea. Like, that's pretty much like what he's going to be doing and what I'm going to be doing. We don't need him in the upload, honestly. I mean, the upload goes by faster if 4 people are in there. But what's more important is him to just keep that giant group of enemies on the outside. If those primes push in, if those pyros push in, if the hunters and the Centaurians and combat troopers are able to push in and set up turrets, that can be extremely costly. That can literally cost us the whole mission. You don't want that to happen. So the best thing to do in situations like this is just to go ahead and just fight him from the inside. The 3 non-tank characters fight him from the inside, while the Krogan can fight him from the outside. So I think he did an extremely good and effective job of keeping them at bay. That is very awesome of Obsidian that he did that, and that is very important that if you're going to try to play as a Krogan, that you keep that in your mind to during uploads, like really hard uploads, to try to constantly keep the enemies at bay from getting to your teammates who can finish the upload very quickly just with 3 people. Alright, anyway, so my buddy Vinny, he's actually going to be playing as a Geth engineer, and I call it the Geth babysitter because that's another very good platinum person to play as. Mainly for the defense, not for the offense. I know in the past I've said offensive Geth engineer is the shit, which it is. I mean, I love the offensive version and the defensive version. But for platinum, I just think that the better way to go is the defense with the turret, just to help you and your teammates with the shields. All you ever have to do is when you see your group of teammates, especially if you're running around or camping, you just throw out the turret next to all your teammates, and then it will consistently heal them and help them out, and that's very important. You don't want to die. The more people go down, the more chances you're going to have of failing. And I mean, that's just the thing. Like, if one person goes down and then someone tries to rescue that person, and if they do it in a very stupid way, because I mean, the stupid way to pick people up, guys, and I know a lot of people always say, "Oh, Jumpin', you never pick up your teammates," or something like that. I pick up my teammates a lot, but the difference is that a lot of times I'm beat out to pick them up in these gameplays. Mainly because, like, here's how it works. If you're going to pick up your teammates, you don't want to pick up your teammate right next to a boss or a phantom or a banshee or a prime, or a hunter, any enemy. You want to try to kill that enemy first and then pick them up. You got to remember, your teammates can bleed out for a very long time. The important thing is to get them up safely for you and your teammate, then to get them up and have them instantly be assassinated or grabbed, or for you to go down in the process of picking them up. That's like the worst thing that can happen, because then guess what? It's just going to go back and forth, back and forth. You're going to try to pick them up, you're going to die, and then they're going to get up, and then they're going to try to pick you up, and then they're going to die, and it just goes back and forth until finally everyone is out of metagels, and your whole team is screwed, or people start getting grabbed and everything like that, and then you're screwed. So the best way to do it, guys, the best way to pick people up is to try to kill those enemies that are around them first. And then sometimes your teammate might have to get themselves up, and if you can communicate with them, if you can tell them, yo man, there's no way I'm going to get you, you're going to have to get yourself up, then they should get up. It's just that simple. But that's the best way to do it, guys. It's not that I'm trying to be stingy and not get them up. No. It's just that if I see them, I'll try to fight the enemies. And a lot of times, as I'm fighting the enemies and killing them, one of my teammates will run up and pick them up. Is it smart for my teammate to do that? I would say no, honestly. But also, it works because as long as you have that one person fighting that group of enemies, trying to distract them, trying to take them all out and everything like that, then that's all that matters, because that should give you and your other teammate who was down enough time. Now right here, I'm just going to bust out my rocket. Anytime on Platinum you see a giant group, really in any of the waves, besides maybe the first 2, I do recommend maybe taking out your rocket and just taking them out. It does make it a lot easier for you and your team. It is important to have a lot of rockets for Wave 10, though, I do have to admit. Uploads on Wave 10 Platinum is like the worst thing you can ever have. If you don't have the rockets for Wave 10, you're screwed. It's just that simple. But it is a good idea for maybe like you and your teammate to use maybe like 3 rockets throughout the game. Well, maybe not 3, but as long as you and maybe one of your teammates use some rockets, if you see the big groups, it just makes your life so much easier for playing Platinum. It really does. And that's just how it goes. So I do recommend using rockets. It's just play it like gold. If you see a giant group of like 5 enemies with a boss, take them out. It's going to shorten the wave. It's going to make the wave a lot easier. Now right here, we are getting sandwiched. We are getting pinched. And the best thing to do in that situation is try to fight our way inside. But unfortunately, it was a little bit too late. Ascenion's going to get assassinated by a phantom, and there they are right there. And I'm just going to go make my way over here. See, like right now, he's clear. He doesn't have enemies standing over him. Those phantoms aren't going to mess with him. And because of that, I was able to get him up safely. And he was able to get up and get out of that situation. Unfortunately, Vinny ran down there and got annihilated. But Lone Crusader was able to get up and get out that situation. And that's what's important. And remember, if you're going to try to run around the maps, you need to constantly run around the maps. You never want to get squished. You never want to get, like, just cornered. And this map is notorious for getting cornered. Giant is just one of those maps. Sometimes you'll fight your way to the bottom, and then all of a sudden you're fighting the whole wave on the bottom because you're just surrounded and you really can't get away. So you have to constantly try to keep moving around and keep getting better positions. The best positions on the map is actually the top. If you can have the enemies on the bottom and you're on the top, that's always an advantage for you. So try to manipulate the enemies to play into that. And what we did in that wave was a good example of that. We forced them all on the bottom, and then we went up the ladder, and then once we got back to the top, it was so easy. It was a billion times easier than trying to fight them at that bottom position. So that's some really important tips for you guys. I hope that can really help you. But let me go ahead and talk about the Geth Piranha now. This build is just amazing for Platinum. It really is. And right here, this is going to be an escort mission. So we got to deliver some pizza with the robot or whatever. And yeah, this is you know, it's just pretty easy. I always think escorts are pretty easy in general. There's a couple times where I've been screaming at the robot like, "Where the fuck are you going?" Ah! Like, because it just makes no sense sometimes. It's like, why would you go that way? It's like, there it is. I can see it. Let's go. Like, why are you going up and then down and then left and then right instead of just going right where it is? Like, what are you doing, robot? But overall, though, I think it is probably my favorite objective in the game now, because on a lot of the maps, it's very quick, it's very easy, and why not? That's the thing. And alright, so anyway, like I was saying, though, it's just yeah, this build is just really good for offense. That's the thing. And the truth of the matter is that if you play with this build and you don't come in first place, yeah, I don't know, like, you're not playing with the build effectively, because when it comes down to it, when you pay attention, for the majority of all these bosses that we fight, which, you know, there's a ton of bosses on Platinum. There's so many bosses. If I'm shooting them and my teammates are shooting them, I'm more likely to get the kill, just because I'm dishing out way more damage than them. My DPS is insanity compared to what they got. So that's just the thing. Most enemies you should be able to kill very easily and very quickly with a build like this. And I do recommend this build for Platinum. This really will help your team. But I also do think that if you want just a casual game of Platinum, a non-try-hard speed run, like we gotta go fast, if you want just in a casual game of trying to run around on Platinum, this is a very effective build to play with other classes, just for some type of synergy, some type of team synergy. And that's how I have fun with Platinum, is to have team synergy, to be able to after the game say, "Yo, Ascension, man, that was you did a great job as that Krogan. You fucking took all the damage. That was awesome, dude." And then be able to tell, like, my buddy Lone, like, "Yo, dude, you freaking snap freezed everything, and that was amazing," whatever. And with Vinny, it's like, dude, your turret helped us out a lot. Like, that's why I think, like, I love this gameplay. I actually really love this gameplay, just because I think that we worked really well as a team. It just was that simple. Like, everybody knew what they were doing, and everybody played their roles, and because of it, it was so much fun to play it like this. So that's what I really hope people can do, like, in Platinum, and not have to sit in corners and stuff. And you know, of course, I hope the clan can help with that, if any of you guys are in the clan. As of right now, I will tell you, we are still working on the website, but it's getting close to being done. Once the website is up, the Feared and Respected website, once that's operational and everybody can, like, get on there and like join and post forums and such, there's gonna be forums and all that kind of good stuff. You're gonna be able to have any platform you want. You can maybe even create, like, boards for different speaking languages, like French or Spanish, or I don't know, like maybe just UK people if you don't want to play with Americans because of lag issues. I mean, I know how it is, guys. I mean, when I play with UK people, I hate it, just because there is always lag. There's always lag for me, there's always lag for them. It's just that simple. I think everybody knows that at this point. So the website's going to be nice because you're going to be able to connect with other clan members from Mass Effect, to just play with. That would be the idea. I mean, once you're in the clan, the idea of the clan is to play with other clan members. So that's just what it is. Now, one thing I hate about Platinum, I do want to say real quick. I hate the ammo. I cannot stand the ammo for Platinum. You're gonna, with a build like this, or for a lot of builds and a lot of maps, you're gonna constantly need to use your thermal packs. It's just that simple. You're not gonna get ammo that much, especially when your teammates are using guns like the Cerberus Harrier. That's the one reason why the Cerberus Harrier is honestly not. It's good for Platinum, but it's not that good because of the ammo. I mean, we already know the Cerberus Harrier is just so bad about ammo. And on Platinum, you just get so little ammo. You get like half the amount of ammo from the boxes compared to Gold. So that's the thing. Like, I really do highly recommend just using your thermal packs, guys. You're gonna have to. You can't, like, if you have 3 bullets and your teammates beat you out. Like, look right there. Like, my teammates beat me out to the box, and because of that, yeah, like, I'm not gonna have any ammo. So, all right. Anyway, it's always a good idea to bust out your rockets when you are moving around, like, to different positions. Like, I was really going down there just to get some ammo, but if there would have been a spawn down there, like a big group of enemies, I would have rocketed. It's just that simple. Like, that's just something I would have done to help with this wave. So it is a good idea. Like, when the wave first starts, it just made me pull out your rocket and try to find that initial spawn. If you can find it, rocket it. If you can't, screw it. It's just that simple. And I'm actually doing an extremely good job of staying alive this game, which I thought was probably the most impressive part, just because I'm so flimsy. I'm a Geth infiltrator, one of the most flimsy people in the game, but yet I'm able to stay alive pretty easily, honestly. I only had the 1 death, unfortunately, but that was because in my position I was in, if you're surrounded by 3 primes, there's going to be like a total of like 6 Geth turrets everywhere, just mowing you down and just wrecking you. Right here, I ran out of ammo again. That was my last thermal pack, and that just was terrible. But now, from this point on, I have to always keep I always got to pay attention to my ammo, so that I know that if I'm getting low, I need to just make my way to an ammo box. And more than likely, the best thing to do is to try to get to an ammo box that your teammates aren't really going to be going for. That's something you can keep in mind. Like, just pay attention. Like, I will go to the ammo boxes that nobody goes to, because I know that there's going to be ammo there. Because you don't want to run out of ammo. Of course, you do not want to run out of ammo. Very important. And every time you fight things like these Banshees, you do want to try to get as much teamwork going as you can, just to take them out quickly. The other thing as well is that if you're playing as that Krogan, these are the waves. These are definitely the waves where you need to try to avoid the Banshees at all costs. Do not charge a Banshee. It's just what it is. Unless she loses all her barrier and she's like, as long as if she doesn't have the aura around her, she won't grab you. But if she does have the aura around her, which she for some reason always does, yeah, she'll probably grab you. So just keep that in mind. So you definitely want to try to avoid them as best as you can, and let your teammates, as a Krogan, let your teammates kind of deal with them if you can. Alright, but anyway, back to this gameplay. Like I said, we are doing, like I said, a really good job, because we have a really good teamwork this game. We're jumping the enemies that needs to be jumped. Obsidian is playing a great role as a tank. Crusader's playing a great role as the paladin. Vinny's playing a good role as the engineer, and I'm just killing everything because I am the most overpowered piece of shit in the game now, which is the Geth Piranha infiltrator. It's just what it is. I am so overpowered. But that's that would be this guy's role. If there was a role for this guy, it would just to be the Slayer, just to kill everything, because that's what he does. Like, that's exactly what he does. All right, so this is wave 9. I personally find wave 8 to be a lot harder than wave 9, especially if you start against Geth faction. Mainly because in wave 9 you only have to deal with 1 Banshee at a time. Now you do have to deal with like primes and Banshees, but that's normally not an issue. The only thing you got to keep in mind is that this is the wave. If you're ever going to get sniped from across the map, this would be the wave, especially on this map, that you're going to get just obliterated by primes shooting you from across the map and from rocket troopers, because there's a ton of rocket troopers this wave. If you focus on just killing rocket troopers and you do not kill the Banshees, you're gonna have to fight like 40 rocket troopers. It's just that simple. So you really need to take out the bosses more than the smaller enemies. That's gonna make the wave go by a lot quicker if you just focus on those bosses and not these rocket troopers. But it's just what it is. But anyway, overall though, like I said, this build is really amazing. I highly recommend this for platinum. As you can see, it's not that hard to stay alive. I only have 3 points into fitness. And of course, I didn't say this earlier, but I'll say it now. If you haven't got this build yet, I will link it in this video to the build. The only difference between this build and the one that I have in the video is that I recently reset this build. I don't really know what I like more, but one thing I did do was I took the proxy. Pretty much, if you've seen my Hurricane build with this guy, it's the same as that. I took the last evolution of Proxy Mine off for the damage, and I went for bonus power instead. That will help you stay alive. And as you can see, I can stay alive very easily. And I give a lot of credit to the bonus power. People don't understand why bonus power is good. Bonus power is good because you can shoot your proxy mine and then make a decision, do you want to engage or not. You don't necessarily have to like fight the enemies, where if you become visible, yeah, the enemies are going to come after you like big time. And right here, I was definitely surrounded. I was totally surrounded. But I called it out. I said, hey guys, I need some help. Can anyone come down here? And everyone kind of made their way down here to try to help me out and deal with a lot, this giant group of enemies. Because the only other option I would have had right there is to just bust out my rocket and take them all out. So at least this way I get to save some rockets for Wave 10. And remember, that's important. You want to definitely have rockets for Wave 10, because the worst thing you can ever have is uploads. Now right here, once again, I could have got it sitting up. There was no point to do that. I knew the wave was almost over. And not only that, like if I'm trying to get them up and then those rocket troopers jumped me, I would have definitely died. And then that could cost you. Like, it's just better to do the safe way. The safe way is to go ahead and right here I'm gonna have to rocket because that's just way too many enemies. The best thing to do is to go ahead and just do it the safe way. Take out that last enemy and not take that chance of like running over to your teammate to get him up. It's just what it is. Like, if you go down in that process, then who knows? Like, who knows what can happen? Especially if it's just you and a teammate, things like that. I just think people make too many bad decisions at this game when it comes down to like playing it. Honestly, like a lot of people, for some reason they just if someone goes down in their team, like their mentality is, I gotta hurry up and get him up. I gotta get him up. That's not a good mentality. It's good to get your teammates up. Don't get me wrong. But what's not a good mentality is to get them up instantly, because if they died, then guess what? They got killed by something. Whatever killed them can easily kill you. And if it's something really, really bad, and a good example of something really, really bad would be like a Phantom or a Banshee, then yeah, you could literally be screwed. Now right here, I'm gonna go ahead and take a pretty good rocket, honestly, just because. And that's the thing, guys. Like in the final, once you get the money, if you want to actually beat platinum, if you actually want, of course you don't have to beat platinum if you don't want to. You could just go ahead and get the money and die. It's really whatever. But if you want to beat it, I do recommend busting out your rocket, taking out the Banshees of all things, just because they're the only thing that's going to really potentially like harm you. Everything else will be pretty good as long as you have some decent teamwork in the process. Primes are really easy to take out. I think we all know that. And Atlases, if you're fighting them for whatever reason, Atlases are the biggest joke in the game, honestly. I really do think that. You guys tell me what you think of Atlases, but I really feel they are the biggest joke. They're supposed to have the most armor and the most shields, but yet they get dropped faster than any other boss level enemy. Primes take way more damage, it feels like, than an Atlas. I guess the reason why is because they're so big and fat, like a turtle. But alright, now if you want to go ahead and try to get full extraction on a map like this works for gold, this works for platinum. It doesn't really matter which difficulty. The best thing to do is try to get your whole team into this final room. This is pretty much the camp room, which I told you before, and I highly recommend to just go ahead and camp your ass off for trying to get full extraction. It makes it a lot easier. You're gonna force all the enemies to come to you, and as they come to you, you can just mow them all down. And luckily, because of the way that we spawn the enemies, they're going to just keep coming through this one way. They really won't come up behind us. Because if they do come up behind you, yeah, that can be an issue. Then you can get pinned in, and you're going to have to work your way out of here. But normally, if you're doing like we are, if you can spawn them in that front area, then yeah, they'll just keep coming from this one way. If they can potentially spawn behind you, but it's really rare. Normally they'll just keep spawning in that one position and keep, you know, rushing to their death over and over again. Now, about 30 seconds in or about 40 seconds in, I highly recommend just busting out your rocket, clear out the path. That's what we're going to do. I think Vinny's going to do it. He's going to, yeah, it was Vinny. He's going to go ahead and rocket that group right there so that he gives us a clear-cut path to make a run for it for the LZ. The LZ on this map is extremely easy to defend. It's extremely easy to defend. But I don't recommend just staying here for the whole 2 minutes because, yeah, you really will get overran. But in general, though, it is easy to defend if you know, for like maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds. It's not that hard. As long as you could just take out Banshees and such. Unfortunately, though, Lone's going to go down at the end, and we're going to get him up. But if you go down at the end, guys, and you don't get yourselves up, like a lot of times that's going to cost you full extraction, which you did. We got partial extraction because of that, but it's not a big deal. Who cares? But anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. I really hope this shows you how amazing and overpowered this build is just for Platinum in general. And I just hope this helps. I try to give as much tips as I could for playing Platinum, and I think I did a pretty good job at it. So please like this video if you liked it. That would be really nice, and it really does help me out. It really does help me out. But besides that, guys, have a nice day.